Hi, Bright Lights. Welcome and thank you for being here. My name is Tina, and in this video today, I'm just wanted to get on and do a collective reading, see how everybody's doing out there. I wanted to talk a little bit about the energies and how those might be affecting you. And we're going to pull some oracle cards and get some answers from Spirit as we continue to move through our journey here. So the energy has been exceedingly chaotic and quite cloudy in the last few months. A lot of my readings have been kind of exhibiting this type of energy. It can be very exhausting. I had talked about this in my yearly video that this was going to be the 9-year 2025, that a lot of endings, beginnings, a lot of processing, a lot of transmutation going on. So, as we continue in our collective to really bring up a lot of this old karmic patterns, many of the bright lights of the world have been wrangling with breaking through a lot of ancestral karmic patterning, a lot of old trauma, that's tied very ancestral, but it's still things that you're processing in this life. You don't have to think about it in an ancestral way. So we want to be sure. So this year we'll be getting more clarity, though. You're going to start seeing things a little bit clearly, how you view the world. And I always talk about taking that inventory, time, energy, and resources. Who are you giving those three things to? So we want to go ahead and start to pull some cards on that, because that is a lot of dismantling I'm hearing going on in relationships right now. So don't be too disheartened if you're really starting to see people around you for who they are, or if you're starting to see some old patterns coming up. So say you took a new job and you're starting to see people that are challenging you in certain ways that has happened before in other workplaces. And this can be family, where maybe things kind of leveled out, but now there's some replaying of old drama, or some things from the past are coming back to the surface, or have. This has transpired now. These are not new things coming through. And so we've been clearing a lot of those, the old. So things tend to cycle around to give us an opportunity to re-look at it, approach it in a different way, see it in a different light. So again, they come back to, maybe we want to pull back another layer of that. We've seen it, we're conscious of it. It could be an old eating pattern. You're very conscious of it. It kind of comes up in a different way, or maybe you don't self-sabotage as much as you did before. Maybe you do a little more than before, but you are becoming conscious of it, and that's all part of this awakening journey. These little snippets of consciousness that we can start to unravel some of these patterns and programs that we have been indoctrinated since we were children. So we're going to go ahead. Let's pull some of these cards now that I talked a little bit about the energy, and see what they have to say. So here we get, if you can see this here, I need to get a new camera. That's kind of my goal this year, is to get a different camera. Anyhow, this is the Fool card in reverse. So this is telling me the Fool in reverse, because we know the Fool in upright, this is kind of that taking a leap of faith. There's a lot of yellow here, which is a lot of the consciousness. This is, stepping forward. So what is happening, or what has been going on, as just as I was saying, is this is previously in the past, these old past bad decisions that we've made that keep us stuck. past people we continue to keep in our lives that keep us stuck. That anything that, again, is keeping us from taking that leap of faith. So it may be where you want to move to, or you have a new idea for a business or something, and you just haven't been able to make that leap. Again, there's a lot of that old fears coming up this year that's holding you back, but it's all meant to try to get you to see consciously what that is, what might be holding you back. And so the Queen of Swords in reverse comes up. And so this is, we're very conscious of this. And so the Queen of in reverse is somebody who's very decisive, but it's also about truth. So the swords represent your mental clarity and your ideology and how you communicate. And so this queen is very good at kind of cutting through that BS. And she's very good at, she has the sword in her hand and she's ready to wield it where she sees appropriate. But she's on this kind of throne here that's very rigid. So she's very stable. So this is all of that instability from the past. And so this could be somebody that in our lives, and this could have been, a mother figure, because a queen, something more toxic feminine, where this person again was communicating, not validating you. This person may not have been treating you with kind words, and so this is somebody who isn't bringing truth forward. This is more manipulation, but it's not so much in actions as it is through words. So this can be somebody who's a little bit vicious with her words, or unkind, like I said, in her communication. And it's coming from a very unstable position. And so this could even be a boss. So this is, again, we can talk about manipulators and controllers. And so this could be a friend. So this is, again, us taking that inventory, because this is in the conscious thought. So this is something most of you are aware of. This is something that may be a pattern that had developed from this person, where you now, because of all of that invalidation and all of that abandonment in really at the core of this, so now you don't believe in yourself, or you have time voicing your opinion, because remember, this is communication. And so you may have been hobbled by that, because again, we see the blue here, which is tied to the throat chakra. So where are you afraid to speak your truth, or where have you maybe been holding back? Because what's going to happen is, because you're conscious of this, starting to become conscious of this, you may start to come in a little bit more aggressiveness. Like, you may start to speak your truth and it comes out maybe a little bit more aggressively than you were hoping, but this is all good, because again, it's not about holding back anymore. It's coming forward. And even if that does not come out right, I don't want you to be too hard on yourself, because we have to start somewhere. And so this could be you coming forward just a little bit too much more harsher than you maybe want to come across, or but as long as you are vocalizing where you have been very suppressed and manipulated and controlled before. So it's all about starting to release that, and that can come out maybe not in the best way. And I want you to know, though, that that's okay. This is not about perfection here. This is about starting to do things in a little bit different way. And we want to embrace that opportunities. And our next one, yeah, is the Hanged Man in reverse. So when we have the Hanged Man here, it's about getting a new perspective. And it's about I kind of like hanging out, kind of, getting sitting in your spirituality, getting a feel for what's happening, but allowing yourself, to be kind of in this position. Now, when it's in the upright position, and what I'm getting for this today is this is about you not wanting things to stay in that old pattern. This is about you breaking free from um, that kind of this stagnancy. So this can be in the past, this was more stagnant. So this is in the subconscious where we just talked about. There's a pattern there that's showing itself to you that you need to look at. And that can be a lot of different things. That can be, how do you see people? Do you see people with rose-colored glasses? Do you allow them to, are you only seeing them in a certain light where maybe that has been kind of your pattern, is to see people in authority positions who are like your mother and father, that they must have all the answers. This guru must have all the answers. They must know more than I know. And so it's about you taking a deeper look at how you see people. And not that you want to be suspicious about everybody and looking over your shoulder and think they're out to get you. It's not about any type of paranoia. It's about staying in a very neutral position until you really get to know people, until you really get to see people for who they are. And so that you are allowing the relationship to flow in its natural form. And so the next um, card I'm getting is in the the past position, and this is a sword of truth. So like I had said before, you're seeing through a lot of the BS. You've been seeing through this for a while. You've been on your journey, but it's very disheartening sometimes when it comes back around. And that's what we're dealing with. Some of the stuff that you thought you gained a lot of clarity on is coming back and creating a little bit of confusion for you. Because you thought you had seen through it, you thought you knew what it was, then something else is coming in, and it's kind of not quite clear to you. And again, that is this energy where it's can be a little bit exhausting, a little bit of frustration as you try to see what's happening. And so my best advice at this point, and we'll get some from spirit, is to just observe what's happening and see, and try not to get pulled into anybody's drama. Really be cautious of that right now, because other people will be playing out their patterns quite heavily, and that can be causing more chaos and confusion in I call them the grids up here, the grid, that could, this collective stuff we have going on. And so the death card is the next card we get, and that's exactly what I'm talking about with all this, is bringing forward more transformation this year. You guys, I know you've been through the ringer. I know there's been a lot of, bad company and bad people around here, and you may have been making bad decisions because you were trying to keep the peace, because you were trying to keep everybody happy. And it's about letting go of that, letting people not be happy, being okay, even if you think you maybe hurt somebody's feelings. That we want you to start opening up. And it's not about being cruel to anyone. This can be a very cruel energy. So it's not about being cruel to others. That's not what I am talking about right now. I'm talking though about speaking your truth. If you're uncomfortable with something and you tell somebody, I don't really like the way you handled that, or I don't think that was appropriate, that's not being cruel. Being cruel would be attacking them personally, saying, oh, I don't like this about you. I don't like what you wear. I don't like how you talk. I don't, and it's not even that. It's kind of, very cruel things that maybe were done to you that you don't want to regurgitate to somebody else. But we're going to see a lot of that, a lot of you getting pushed a little bit to come out of this cycle of any type of people pleasing, any type of, and of course, that won't be for everyone. There's always going to be enablers. This is all part of our lessons. I always talk about the narcissist teach endurance and the empaths teach discernment. And so there's always going to be people at different levels, but a lot of you that are on your awakening journey and have started to do your inner work, these are kind of some of the things that are going to be happening for you. And this is a great card to come up because this is like the near future. So you're going to go through this death cycle, but see how there's this sun coming up and this spiritual figure rising up out of the ashes. Your new version, your new higher level of consciousness is coming in. This is starting to manifest from more of a conscious place. So we like the death card. Um, and again, it's the 13. And so the 13 signifies this kind of a rebirth process because the 13 is attached to the divine mother energy. But if it's in its toxic form, that's no ideas, nothing fruitful happening, no fertile ideas, but this is planting now the seeds. And you can see some of the people are still down and out, but like I said, there are those of you who are waking up to it, and there's going to be some really good things coming to light because of it. And so this King of Pentacles in the reverse. And so this energy is, this is a self-made person, very honorable, you know, uh, and this is again about abundance and things manifesting in the physical. And this can be conscious manifesting, but this is a lot of wealth and things around him. So again, you talk about this in the reverse. And so this is how we're seeing our environment right now. You're seeing kind of in the collective, there's a lot of greed happening right now. Like I personally, and so just to give you an idea of how I'm seeing this, I just received a notice. I have been leasing my home for a good 4 years now. And and about 2 to 3 years ago, there's started these rent increases, and I got another huge rent increase. And there's this place, it's an older townhome. They've done no work to it, but they continue to raise the costs. And this is not from a place of good stability. This is a place of now it seems incredibly greedy. And that's what I thought when I saw it. I was like, this is a very disappointing for as much as this has been going on now year after year, the last 3 years of these huge increases. This is out of control. And we're seeing that in our environment, this manipulation to basically steal from people, because when you hoard wealth, that is a very unethical and immoral thing, and it sticks the energy. It creates this kind of stuckness in the energy because energy needs to flow, and that includes money and everything else. And so we're becoming very conscious that that is going on because this is in the conscious thoughts. And yeah, see in the how we see our environment here is this all of this stuff going on. So the Seven of Cups is all about the illusion, right? And so this is all these shiny things, and they're trying to point fingers at what's causing it. But there's this underlying sense right now of people overly thinking about themselves instead of other. We're in a very different energy right now. I think you're going to see things building, but to a better, more conscious way of being. But this is again this illusion card being pulled into all the shiny objects. And this can be to us with our distractions, right? What is distracting us? I did binge watch some TV the other day. Um, and again, it's not about this perfection or anything like that, but where are you maybe self-sabotaging? What maybe are you putting your energy on that is taking you away from some things that you maybe want to be focusing on that would be better for you? And so notice how we went from like this physical manifestations of like a very earthy abundance, and this is more of the emotional thing. So we're trying to balance out this energy of the flow of abundance with how we feel with our emotions. And so there's a little bit of chaos still going on in the energy, but we're going to see some clarity coming in. We're going to see a shift. And so in the hopes and fears, here is the page of wands, and this is about inspired action, and pages could be messages. So this is about you could be getting a message that helps to drive you in the way that you want to go. So you could get some encouragement and get that inspiration because this is a young energy. So it's something where we're just starting to build. So we're on the bottom row, that we're starting to come back into our manifestations this year and what we're hoping to attain. And so where we are headed, and so this is the page of cups. So we've got two cups here, the action, and then we have the feeling. So, but it's not quite what you're expecting it to be. And this might be an old pattern cropping up that you keep doing the same thing and getting the same result, and that fish is not what you want. It's like, wait, I'm trying to manifest this, but I keep getting this damn fish. What's going on? So again, it's asking you to take a look at what's going on in what patterns you might be cropping up that you're not looking at. Um, and this also could be an unexpected message and getting something. But I'm seeing this, and this always isn't the case, but I'm seeing this as being something very positive, and kind of fun. So be very open to that. I think you guys are ready for a little bit of fun. I think the energy is turning in that area. So we're going to get some clarifiers on here, and I want to start with our activations and see yeah, so what we're looking at here is we want to really start to focus on the third eye chakra, number 6, which is all about creativity, but 6 is about the flow, like I was talking about here, within the energy and making sure that we're not getting stuck in the flow, and which causes a lot of frustration and a lot of anger. So if that happens, just know that you're pushing too hard and you're pushing too quickly for something to manifest. So you want to just take a step back and refocus your energy. And so the frequency of the third eye chakra, the indigo flower of life, supports our intuition and our inner knowing. It supports our imagination and our psychic powers. So we want to get back to our knowingness, our not trying to force things, or not trying to get answers from others about what we should do. We want to start getting those answers and start following our own guidance. And we're going to go to the wisdom of the oracle. I wanted to look at the bottom of the, I was just pulled to this hermit energy, which is about starting to light your path, taking it one step at a time. And he's got like this staff here that's lit up. That's his and he's really focusing on lighting up his path, but taking it one step at a time so that the path unfolds, that we're not trying to take these big leaps forward. And again, this is 9 energy here. So this is about power and power within. And it's about following that power. So let's go to the wisdom. Oh, and so breathe. Really important to breathe right now. And this is 29. So 2 represents our emotions, a lot of ups and downs right now. And the 9, we're in a 9 year. And so that is all about where your power is and not disempowering yourself. And so breathing, of course, it's about where she's sitting here on this kind of lily pad on the water above her emotions, and she's going within, and she's focusing on the breath, if that's what you need to do. And so then the 2 and the 9 add up to an 11, which is a master number and is tied to, new beginnings. So we want to be practicing doing our little spiritual routines is very critical right now, because now we're going to be moving forward. And this is a great card to come up with, because we have the wish wisely. Use your wishes wisely to manifest your heart's desire and take practical steps towards making your dreams come true. And so it's coming back to getting out of the dreamland. You know what you want or what you're dreaming about, and making some practical steps, taking steps to do that. I'm going to be, and to explain that is, I was been trying to figure out when the best time for me to would be to do this discovery trip that I want to do abroad, because I'm planning to move abroad next year. And it's something that's been pulling at my heart for quite a while. And so now I need to take those practical steps and start doing the discovery trips. And so I'm setting my first trip up within this next week is my goal. And so it's making sure that I can still manage my job and take this time off that I need to start refocusing my energy. So that's all practical steps are, is just starting to take these small little action steps, inspired action, to start moving ahead. And so let's see what the animal spirit guide oracle. Yeah. Although we want to, I love this bobcat spirit. It's one of my favorites. Life is a mystery. And so we want to keep that kind of that childlike awe of life is a mystery, and like looking forward to going somewhere I've never been before. And the 8 is all about connecting with others and emotional fulfillment. So we definitely, things are moving forward for us if we allow them to move forward. And so let's see what our angel guide spirit is saying. Those of you that have been doing your inner child healing, this is part of that journey. And this is a pat on the back from your guides and angels, saying doing that work is really going to pay off this year. And even if you haven't started that work, if you I will put the Ho'oponopono meditation for the inner child. I always do when that comes up in these videos, because reconnecting with your inner child. And so that's part of that life is a mystery, and wishing wisely and taking those practical steps to start to really get back to that joyous wonder and fulfillment of life. That's all spirit really wants us to get back to, because that's where we can manifest consciously. It's not about hanging on to these people that have created a lot of instability and chaos and drama because those are the patterns they're attached to and they're projecting those patterns onto us. And I do want to get one card from the Hidden Realms just so we can take a maybe a little deeper look at that energy, that old energy that seems to be at the beginning of the reading in the past. Yeah, the Horse King. And so horses, we talk about horses a lot on this channel. I used to raise horses. Horses are tied to freedom and they're tied to boundaries. That's why we build fences. We build fences around people. And this horse is bowing. So this is, humble. This is getting assistance and watching about control energy, those that are trying to control you. Um, and so being a king of that independent, free spirit energy. And this is a 42, which adds up to that six energy. We got lots of things about focus and getting into the flow. Horses are very flowing energy and they're very grounded as well. So we want to make sure that we're grounding ourselves in this energy, something I've been feeling very ungrounded quite a bit, easily toppled in this energy. And I just pull myself back in and I do a grounding prayer and I try to get outside as much as I can. So we're going to do this card and then one mantra card. So I wanted to do an activation here because I just feel like we are doing a lot of upgrades in this energy. And there is a new one coming through. And that's the Emerald tablet activation. And, Emerald energy, it's tied to the heart. And you can kind of see there's like almost a sword that we've been talking about here. And that's starting to tap into your communication energies. And so this is cosmic ordering, divine alchemy, and conscious manifesting, just what we were talking about. So that's where we're headed. You can see a lot of this green and purple in the energy with these cards, and then this yellow, we have the third eye chakra. So lots of purple high consciousness energy, yellow's consciousness, and then a lot of heart energy. I am going to read, oh, sorry, I am going to read on this emerald tablet activation. Let me look that up. And it's on page 77, which is tied to the heart healing. The Emerald Tablet is one of the most celebrated of the Hermetic texts, a series of sacred Egyptian Greek texts from the 2nd century or earlier. They form the basis of Hermeticism, a spiritual tradition that brings together science and spirituality through investigations into the cosmos, mind, and nature. Most of the texts are a series of dialogues between a teacher and a student and are based on the concept of alchemy, the art of turning lead into gold, something that is leaden and heavy into a golden opportunity, because again, we have it in the swords energy. So this is the mental energy. It's not about the physical yet. We're in the process of consciously manifesting. So the emerald tablet is said to have been carved on a bright green stone that was transported to Egypt around the fall of Atlantis and stored in the halls of Amniti under the Great Pyramid. Although this legend is widespread, the origin of the text is shrouded in mystery. And what did we have that? Life is a mystery card, Bobcat energy, which is tied to, and bobcats are any type of a cat is tied to independence, swift moving when you find something that you want. Um, And then it is said, we do know that this is made up of 14 passages, which first appeared in a book written sometime between the 6th and 8th centuries and has been highly influential. Its most famous statement is, as above, so below. meaning that what is the high heavens is reflected upon the earth. The author signs off as Hermes Trismegistus, and I don't know if I'm saying that right, which is another name for Thoth, who is featured in this deck. We'll maybe do a reading on Thoth sometime, and is thought to have been the priest king of Atlantis. The idea is that he knew of the approaching end of that civilization and hid the Emerald Tablet and many other teachings in order to preserve them for spiritual aspirants in the future. So that's all very interesting. But I felt like there was this opening coming up for us, this gateway. Um, so, it's about us coming back in, doing third eye meditations, doing candle gazing. I talk about that so that we learn about staying in our frame, keeping our energy in our frame so that we're not giving our energy to those that are trying to siphon it from us to stay again because we need our energy. That's our energy is staying in our vibrancy. And we're going to do a mantra for this reading as an ending to bring all this in to balance and come full circle. Integrating the ego. This is going to be a big year for that. Integrating the ego. And the mantra is everything is for me, not against me. Everything is for me, not against me. Everything is for me, not against me. And once we realize that there's something hidden in everything that happens to us that we need to look at, the quicker we can really start to open up our pathway to this life and to what everything that happens, for a reason to show us these little patterns. And if you want to go deeper into learning about what patterns you chose, you can always get a soul contract reading from me. I had lowered my prices this year because I knew people would be looking for new ways to find out about themselves because it's all about learning about ourselves and what we came here to do that is part of our awakening journey. And I do that with the soul contract, which sets up your patterns of experiences. And then once you know how you're manifesting everything, then it kind of helps you to look at what you how to break free, what you really came here to learn, and then how to break free and come back on into alignment with your spiritual side so that you can fulfill that part of your chart and again live with more purpose and more in alignment because life is not meant to be this constant struggle. So I'm going to leave you with that, and things are looking up. That I thought this was a really good reading, and I will see you in the next video.